Most people think history disappears through censorship, that if something is gone, it must have been removed. But that is rarely how it works. More often, nothing is deleted, something is added. When an uncomfortable story fades, it is usually replaced by a better one, a cleaner one, a version that explains without accusing. This is why silence rarely feels empty, it feels complete. What survives in the record is not the absence of truth, but a substitute that feels easier to remember. History does not only forget, it fills gaps, and what fills those gaps quietly decides what the past is allowed to mean. Replacement does not require conspiracy, it requires convenience. When an account is too messy, too painful, or too demanding, a smoother version begins to circulate. It may not be entirely false. This is what makes it effective. It selects certain facts and lets others fade. It emphasizes inevitability over choice, stability over conflict. Over time, this version becomes familiar, and familiarity produces trust. Soon, people do not remember choosing it, they remember it as how things were. The original complexity does not vanish violently. It is simply outpaced by a story that travels faster. Institutions play a central role in this process. They are not designed to hold unresolved tension. They are designed to function. Records must be coherent. Reports must conclude. Archives must categorize. When events resist clarity, institutions simplify them. Responsibility becomes diffuse. Causes become abstract. Outcomes become administrative. What survives is a narrative that allows continuity, one that does not interrupt procedures or demand revision. This is not necessarily dishonest, it is structural. Systems reward versions of the past that justify the present. Anything that threatens that justification slowly loses visibility. Replacement also happens through morality. When harm cannot be denied, it is often reframed as necessary, unfortunate but unavoidable, tragic but instructive. This moral reframing changes how memory works. Instead of asking who decides, history asks what we learn. Instead of examining responsibility, it celebrates resilience. Suffering becomes meaningful rather than accountable. This does not erase pain, it repurposes it. Pain becomes proof of progress, evidence of strength, a stepping stone towards something better. What survives is not justice, but a lesson, and lessons rarely point backward with accusation. Time strengthens replacement narratives. As distance grows, details fades, witnesses age, urgency dissipates. What remains are summaries. Summaries clarity favor over accuracy. They compress complexity into coherence. Soon people inherit a version of the past they did not experience. They learn it already shaped. Questioning it feels disruptive, almost impolite. After all, this is how it has always been told. At this stage, replacement becomes invisible. The alternative no longer feels missing. It feels unimaginable. What was once contested becomes common sense, and common sense rarely feels historical. It feels natural. Language is the tool that stabilizes replacement. Passive constructions remove actors. Journal terms blur responsibility. Things happened. Mistakes were made. Circumstances change. These phrases do not deny harm, they dissolve agency. When no one appears to act, no one appears accountable. Over time, this language hardens into record, into textbooks, into official memory. The past becomes something that occurred, not something that was done. What survives is a version without perpetrators, without decision points, without alternatives. A history that cannot accuse also cannot warn. It can only explain. Replacement narratives are appealing because they reduce discomfort. They allow societies to move forward without reckoning, to inherit benefits without acknowledging costs. They offer closure where none was earned. This is why they persist even when challenged. To question them feels like reopening wounds, like threatening stability. So, resistance is reframed as obsession, as bitterness, as refusal to let go. Meanwhile, the replacement story continues unmarked. It does not shout, it reassures. What survives is a memory that asks nothing of the present, no repair, no responsibility, only recognition that something difficult happened long ago to someone else. But replacement has consequences. When the past is softened, the present loses warning signs. Patterns become harder to recognize. If harm is remembered as inevitable, it becomes easier to repeat. If decisions disappear from memory, they reappear as structures. What was once a choice becomes a condition. Replacement does not just distort history, it reshapes expectations. People start believing alternatives ever existed. They stop imagining different outcomes. At that point, history stops functioning as knowledge. It becomes reassurance. And reassurance is dangerous because it tells us that whatever exists now must be the only possible result. Vellum and void exist to interrupt replacement, not by restoring a perfect past, but by noticing what filled this silence. To ask not only what disappeared, but what was allowed to survive instead. Which versions were repeated, which explanations hardened, which comforts became official memory. Because history does not only forget, it substitutes. And substitutions shapes how societies understand responsibility, possibility, and change. If something here feels unsettled, that is intentional. Replacement depends on ease. Attention resists it. To pay attention is to notice when a story feels too smooth, too resolved, too complete. Sometimes the most important question is not what was erased, but why this version remained.